when one thinks of African poetry, or at least when we think of the earlier traditions or the earlier poets, we tend to think of more rural themes, more sort of very fixed aesthetics that are engaging colonialism in particular ways, trying to form particular sort of convergences around an articulation of self. What's surprising in this new group of poets is the range, aesthetic range. We have probably published more experimental poets in the chapbook series than have probably ever been published of African poets writing in the English language, which for me is remarkable. So we have everything from language poets, we have performance poets, we have standard lyric poets, we have narrative poets, we have poets who are mixing orality from Africa, almost like the epic and window kind of style, with a very modern sensibility. Other things too that are one may not have thought of as an aesthetic range is beginning to emerge, that we have created an aesthetic safe space where poets themselves whose sexuality might be questioned within the context of their religions in Africa or their immediate culture in Africa are using this opportunity to sort of emerge, as it were, to come out, not just in a sort of sexual identity way, but the ways in which that part of an African self, that part of an African identity has a deep impact on the aesthetics that are needed to express it. And so we see new forms emerge, new kinds of beauty emerge, new articulations of self emerge, and that itself is a beautiful thing to watch. And even as we mentor these young poets, we realize all the time that we are ourselves being expanded and being forced to rethink what's possible. And that's one of the beautiful things, that you can have a chapbook set, like one of these for instance, that will have 10 poets and not a single one is the same style as the other one. There's not the same aesthetic range. They're all doing beautiful different things. The political themes vary, and what is of import in terms of identity varies. We see a much more cosmopolitan self, and yet a deeper African self, and we see all these gender expressions emerging, all of that within these fascinating lyric, experimental, atonal, and all kinds of voices that are generating a new wave for us.